Yo, you guys can't let me keep doing this to you, right? It's technically Tuesday. It's Monday right now when I'm recording, but it's Monday afternoon. You guys aren't seeing this at 8 a.m. I've been so ADHD brained out. I'm over here reading, doing random Photoshop jobs that I technically shouldn't even be doing. And you guys don't have a new episode like I promised to give you guys. There's a quote from my father. A good man is a man of his word. Simple, straight to the point. If I promise you guys something, if I tell you I'm gonna do something, follow through. Do it. And I didn't. I feel fucking bad. This entire time I felt bad. If I could have skipped work today and said fuck it and recorded it, I absolutely would have. But it's 4:34 p.m. now. And you're here with me, your host, Mr. Always on 10. And if you're brand new, I'd like to welcome you to the Intelligent Idiots podcast. I'm a guy who likes to read Reddit stories for you beautiful people. And sometimes I forget to turn my on-air sign on. And also, I get super, super late with recording to the point where it's the day that the episode should be out. So if you're here, thank you. We're not really gonna do a fit check because I'm just in the Nike tee. I love Nike, but the outfit I picked out came with pants, jogging pants, and it's 80-something degrees. Your boy's not doing that. Even though I got the AC on, the fans are off, the air not really pushing like that. So my feet are cool because it's about to vent, but up here I'm hot. Little perspiration, little something, you know. So we're gonna dive right in. This week's episode is themed legal troubles. Remember, like 17 episodes ago, we were supposed to do legal drama, legal trouble, and just another legal episode back to back to back. But we ended up with the random Reddit bullshit stories. Yeah, so we're finally back to these. The themes. Let's go, baby. We're over in r/oh no consequences with a post by temporary lumpy 8589. Drunk Karen loses it when she gets arrested for an accident she caused, tries to deflect blame onto me. Story time. Note, before we begin, special note, I did not suddenly screech to a halt or do anything dangerous in traffic or anything remotely like that. I was 100% not at fault in the accident. Being easily made to second guess myself, I thought I might have been somewhat at fault and made sure to ask the officers and insurance people if I had done anything wrong. But they all said no. And you know how insurance goes. If they can skip out on paying us some money and put you at fault, they absolutely will. I had not broken any driving rules, and the other driver was completely in the wrong. And I didn't use my hazards because I didn't have time to consider it before the accident happened. For context, this happened in mid-May last year. I had a trip planned out of state, but my Nissan Sinatra's air conditioning compressor decided to short out and die about 10 p.m. the night before I was due to leave, and there wasn't time to get a rental car because I had to leave at 6 a.m. the next morning, and we live kind of out in the sticks. I understand that because my AC is also currently out, and I don't have the time to take it to the shop, so I'm suffering. My uncle, who is also my neighbor and was going to watch my cats while I was gone, had recently bought a fairly young used Toyota Tacoma quad cab. When he heard what happened, he asked if I wanted to borrow it. The Tacoma was his second car. He also had an SUV. I accepted the offer, and I'm glad now that my AC did die and have since thanked God for it, because if I had been in my little sedan, this accident would have been a lot worse. The night that I was returning home from the vacation, it was 1 a.m. and I was about 20 minutes from reaching home, driving down a long, straight, semi-rural stretch of road. There were no other drivers visible around. In fact, I hadn't seen any other drivers in nearly half an hour at this point. If there had been other drivers near me, I might have tried a different tactic than what I did end up doing. As it was, this is what happened. I had stopped at a red stoplight when a raccoon came into the road and started flopping, staggering, and rolling about as if it couldn't properly use its legs, right in front of me. Since I couldn't tell whether it was injured or rabid, we've had some rabies cases in our area lately, I immediately used the hand-free / Bluetooth in the truck to call the police to see if animal control was available. While I was doing this, the light cycled through to green, but I stayed where I was. Again, there were no headlights visible anywhere around me on the long empty road, and it was almost 1 in the morning, so I figured, wrongly, of course, that no one was going to just materialize without me seeing them. About 20 to 30 seconds after having stopped at the red light, and about 10 after the light has cycled back to green, I'm looking for the name of the cross street to tell the police dispatcher that I'm on the phone with when I hear this engine gunning in the distance. I glance around for headlights to find where it's coming from, but there's nothing visible. A second later, there's a loud wham, and the truck moves forward in a jolt. A shirt way? What were you trying to type here? In a jolt, a shirt way. Yeah, you got hit from behind. You got hit from the back. Yeah, you got jolted forward. Somebody rammed into the back of you. We're gonna go with that. This middle-aged brunette lady had come up behind me without headlights on, no headlights, and plowed right into the back of the truck at full speed. Even though she had all that long straight stretch of semi-rural road to see me as she was coming up. There was no squeal of brakes, no sound of her trying to stop, no skid marks in the road. She just plowed right into me at full tilt, somewhere between 40 to 50 miles per hour, according to the police looking at the damage. Though I can't be certain, really. They can be certain. They can pull that data. And it was only the fact that the truck was built like a tank that kept me from getting hurt. Ooh, you ended up lucky. I pull up to the curb and get out of the truck to inspect the damage. I noticed, A, incredibly, the brunette lady's airbag didn't go off. B, I'm holding up 2 fingers for B. Her passenger is obviously completely stoned or wasted. C, while the truck has a decent-sized dent in the back and a busted taillight, her little Jeep Cherokee is completely crumbled across the whole front end and spewing fluids and steam. And the tires are at an angle showing that the axle is probably bent or compromised. I yell over to her, "Are you hurt? What on earth happened?" Yeah, who says that? What on earth happened? She immediately starts screaming at me. "You slammed on brakes right in front of me. And you were stopped and you shouldn't have been stopped." I pointed the raccoon, which has made it to the median, but it's still flopping around. Yo, that raccoon for sure has rabies. It's in the middle of the road. No, the median. It's at the median, even though you just had a whole car accident. If it doesn't have rabies, it's absolutely drunk and off of whatever you've been sipping on. And I try to explain that I'd actually been on the phone with the police and that the light had cycled through. I hadn't slammed on brakes, or whatever the fuck that means, at all, because I had already been sitting there for a good 30 seconds at least before this lady showed up. I didn't have time to bring up the fact this lady's headlights had been off. As soon as I pointed out the raccoon, she started rolling her eyes and hitting the steering wheel and yelling, "Oh my..." I wonder what she was trying to say here. Because OP censors this themselves. Creative liberties. "Oh my fuck! You stopped for a fucking raccoon? You should have run it over," etc. That's not the only thing they said. At this point, I decide even if there's a chance she is hurt, it's not worth risking being physically attacked to go over there and find out. I get back in the truck, talk some more to the dispatcher, and don't get back out until the police come. The first police officer arrives. I tell her I'm not hurt and to check on the other two. As soon as she sees the officer coming, the Jeep driver starts spewing at her, telling her that it's my fault and I brake checked the Jeep. I explained to the officer what really happened and that there's a recorded 911 call to prove it. Because the dispatcher was actually talking to me when the Jeep lady came up at full tilt and slammed into me. Also, the officer can see the lady's headlights are off. I hear the officer say the headlight switch isn't even turned on when she looks inside the Jeep. But the lady refuses to discuss these points and just keeps screaming about me stopping for a fucking raccoon and that I brake checked her / came to an unsafe stop right in front of her. Bear in mind, she was driving without headlights in the middle of the night and driving very fast at that and setting herself up for some sort of accident, whether I was the one she wound up hitting or not. Yeah, because whether she was going 40 or 50, when you're on those dirt roads, the speed limit is between 15 and 25. if it's residential, there's houses on that street, it's 15. If it's just a regular dirt road, 25 max. Max. Three more officers arrive. Two of the newcomers trap the raccoon, while the first one that was already there tries to breathalyzer the driver. Oh, shit. I retreat to the other side of the truck to talk to the third new officer and make my part of the crash report. But the two of us can still see and hear what's going on over the hood of the truck. The Jeep driver refuses to use the breathalyzer or cooperate with the field sobriety test and keeps telling the officer that it's my fault and that I'm clearly the one on something, or at the very least, at fault for daring to stop for a raccoon. Oh, okay, you're denying. You're denying. And that denial is a confession of here, man. You're not drunk. You've been popping pills. The officer that was talking to me then joins his colleague, and they get Jeep Lady to calm down, Jeep Lady, and do a breathalyzer. Her blood alcohol comes up many points above the legal limit. Shocker. They do a second one to make sure there's no error, but the result is the same. She's well and truly toasted. Jeep Lady is naturally arrested. She is given permission to call someone to get her passenger, who's just wandering around even more sloshed than she is, but is also uninjured as far as anyone can tell. I get back in the truck, but I can still hear and see Jeep Lady standing by the patrol car next to me and yelling into the phone saying, "It's so stupid. I'm getting arrested because some bitch-made motherfucker brake checked me into to let a fucking raccoon get out of the damn road. My authority." Let me stop. At this point, the cops were rolling their eyes at her, and one of them is hanging out near me to make sure the lady doesn't decide to take a lunge at me since she isn't handcuffed while making the phone call. Yo, cuff her, chuck her in the drunk tank. Her insurance, of course, said it was her fault when I called them and paid up front without any fuss at all when the time came to do so. This is because she flunked her breathalyzer so spectacularly and because she was driving without headlights on at 1 a.m. and made no attempt to hit the brakes. Also in my state, in a rear-ending accident, the posterior driver is always the one legally at fault, not the interior. Posterior is your rear, interior is your front. The more you know. Unless there's definite proof of brake checking / road aggression on the part of the interior driver. I later learned that she still tried to blame the accident on me instead of herself to the DMV after she sobered up. Give me that license for forever. Some people are just delusional. Also, we found out this same lady had already been in trouble for causing a multi-car pileup at an intersection right down the street from where she hit me. About 2 years prior to the accident with me, she claimed it wasn't her fault then because the sun was in my eyes. She wasn't arrested for drunk driving for that one, but I would be willing to bet she was at least buzzed. Now, if you're wondering, if you are wondering Yes, my uncle was upset about his truck, but didn't get upset at me since it wasn't my fault. And nowadays, you never know it was in an accident. The body shop did a great job, and the drunk lady's insurance covered everything. That's a win right there. Fuck insurance companies, but that's a win right there. If that's not a reason to pay for your insurance, I don't know what is. Because you're going to have drunk ass people. Remember, when you're 10, 20 minutes away from the crib, these are where the most accidents happen. I say 10, 20 minutes. I think it is a number of miles. Let me look it up real quick. When you are blank away from, I can't type if you guys didn't know, from home, car accidents increase. And you already know what we're about to do. We're about to skip the fucking AI search results. TSRinjurylaw.com says immediately, as of June 5th, 2023, 77% of crashes happen within 10 miles of home. Fatigue, distractions, and overconfidence raise risk. Ooh, let me see. And then we have Giuseppe Law LLC.com. And where are they from? This is Ohio. Many people believe that car accidents are more likely to happen far from home or unfamiliar roads during long trips. However, studies show that this is not the case. Most car accidents actually occur close to home. This surprising fact raises important safety concerns for daily driving routines. Where do most car accidents happen? According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, most fatal crashes happen within 25 miles of home. This statistic highlights the risks associated with routine drives, such as commuting to work, running errands, or dropping off children at school. These everyday trips often involve short distances, familiar routes, and a false sense of security. Drivers tend to be more relaxed and less cautious when they are driving in areas they know well, which can lead to mistakes and accidents. Ooh, what causes accidents near your home? One major factor contributing to this trend is the phenomenon of highway hypnosis. Yes, when you zone the fuck out and you're on autopilot, baby, it happens to everybody. Oh, and they say it, the next bar, or autopilot mode. When driving on familiar roads, drivers often operate on muscle memory, paying less conscious attention to their surroundings. This reduced focus can result in slower reaction times and an increased likelihood of accidents. Another important consideration is the role of distractions. Drivers on short, local trips may feel more comfortable multitasking, such as using a phone, eating or adjusting a radio. These distractions can be deadly, even at lower speeds. Distracted driving is a leading cause of accidents, and the risk is just as high close to home as it is on the highway. You know what? That's probably why they put the volume button, the phone control button, the radio search buttons on your driving wheel. Driving wheel? Driving wheel. Steering wheel. On the steering wheel. You guys didn't see that. You guys didn't see that. And just remember, if you did, you didn't. Because why? I said so. Who am I? Mr. Always on 10. I appreciate you for listening to me. Oh man. Yeah. So we can see that. And there's probably, looks like there is a NIH study over here too that we can probably read through, but this is from 2003. So we don't really care about that. We don't really care about that. Let's read the top comment. Top comment. Oh, I got everything sorted for best comment. Oh, shit. Let's go ahead and refresh that. Refresh that. Top comments comes from Lick This Book. Not Boots. Book. With 182 upvotes. I am curious. If you are obviously at fault in an accident like this woman was, can your insurance refuse to pay for the damages on your car? Or do they pay for things off and either raise your rates dramatically nor cut you off? And Blue Porch replies, it's the latter unless the policy is liability only, which some people carry on older cars. This may drop they may drop this lady as not meeting their underwriting standards, depending on whether she's already with an insurer if last resort. I don't think they could raise the rate high enough to cover someone causing this many accidents. Slash Network Boy says, I knew a guy who was like this lady. I removed myself from his life after his second DUI. I'll accept the first DUI can be accidental, especially if only slightly over the limit, but a second is inexcusable. Anyway, he was dropped by all carriers other than the will insure anyone people. In addition to the DUIs, he had several at-fault accidents. The insurance company required he would carry a $15,000 bond in addition to his $10,000 a year premium for liability-only insurance. You know what? This makes me curious because, like, I believe the state offers home insurance. I think I learned this after, like, the California fires because State Farm was on some bullshit. Here they are recognizing that global warming is a thing, and they're, like, actively removing coverage and raising rate prices for homes. And then the California wildfires hit. And they're like, nah, we're not taking care of none of that shit. Fuck you. And the state comes in and they're like, bitch, you better. And they start paying people out who aren't even with them. But it was like, I think a comment on a TikTok. And there is home insurance through the state. So with this kind of situation, I would think, okay, hey, you officially have caused an accident for the second time, right? This is your first DUI. We're going to suspend your license for whatever length of period that the judge says. And if no insurance will take you, you can come with us. We will match whatever the top rate was going to be for car insurance. You have to pay us, right? Or we will impound your shit. I'm spitballing that part. But you can come with us. You can come with the state. We will insure your vehicle. I'm definitely spitballing. But as soon as you get another DUI, straight to jail. No. As soon as you get another DUI, how would I do this? Because people need vehicles. People need transportation, especially if you live super far from or just in a really weird town away from your job, right? Because I can for sure take the bus to work, but I'm taking like 3 buses. As soon as I go to a new location, I go to this new plant, it's for sure not taking a bus to work, right? I could probably take it home, but that might be a 4-hour bus ride. Right. Even where I'm at right now, that might be like a buck 20, maybe 2 hours. I used to catch the bus all the time from school to home and home to work when I was fucking in high school and college. And that was an arduous task. So you fall asleep, you end up in a completely different city. You at the end of the line. So I can see like the state saying, hey, we will insure your vehicle. We will not be held liable if you destroy other people's property because of your past recklessness. This is a fund that will take care of all damages caused to your vehicle if someone damages your vehicle, and or will pay out specifically to those who has had their property damaged. But that is the extent. Once your fund has been depleted, you put in 400, 500, 600, 700 every single month. You've been with us a year, so that's what let's spitball. 8,400. Once we have paid out, the rest is on you. Have fun in court. And we will be taking your license again. They should work in tandem with the judge because, like, you should have to take classes. I think there's, like, monitoring devices. You got to drop. Because my boy, he has to drop. He has to go pee in a cup and call it drop. Yeah, you got to go drop weekly, bi-weekly. I think those ankle monitors now, they like some way, somehow, through your skin are scanning for drugs. The technology is amazing. So that should for sure be a thing. That for sure should be a thing. Virtual Choir Boy drops a comment. It depends on whether or not your insurance company would be willing to subrogate the claim. Subrogates. What the fudge? That's a new word. That's a new word. It's a big word for Emma. To put in the place of another. To substitute something or someone, such as a second creditor for another with regard to a legal right or claim. Subrogates. You can just say subrogates. SUBROGATE. Subrogates. I'm sorry. I'm medicated. It depends on whether or not your insurance company will be willing to subrogate the claim, and it's always worth asking before you file against the other policy. Subrogation is where your insurance... they go on to explain it. Subrogation is where your insurance company processes your claim completely and then gets paid back by the other insurance company. The net impact to your insurance company is $0 total incurred, so your rates don't change due to the accident. There are a couple of reasons why this is always a better choice. First, you are the customer of your insurance company, so they're interested in making sure you're taken care of. You are obviously not the customer of the other insurance company, so they won't have as much of a vested interest in making sure you're taken care of. The second reason is that if the other insurance company decides to be slow or fight the claim / the extent of the damage, subrogation means that it's the insurance company versus the insurance company. If you don't subrogate, then it's you versus the insurance company, and you're less likely to win because lawyers are expensive. Okay, I like this. And OP even says it. This is useful information. They got 52 upvotes for this. I like this. Oh, they got a little MS Paint. Okay, let's read these comments by OP. Whatever they're replying to is a deleted comment by a deleted user as well. The comment got removed by the moderator, but they got them 10 downvotes. They 10 in the negative. And OP replies, it isn't. It is a true story. Her insurance covered all the repairs to my uncle's truck when the police report with her breathalyzer failed came through. Though I don't know what they did as far as drunk lady herself was concerned. They may have dropped her rather than pay for her Jeep, which was probably totaled anyway. I do have the DMV and police reports on this accident still. I have a file box where I put all the service records and driver's license related things, so I got a copy of the report for me, and even though it wasn't my vehicle involved. But since it would have real names, I can't share the whole report here, though I could screenshot the final DMV crash reports diagram of the crash since that just has vehicle 1 and vehicle 2. If you don't believe me. I see somebody trolling. I had about 4 family members come when I called home. Again, rural. Live in an area with several family members all close together kind of deal. You know. To see if I was okay too. And some people in a house nearby heard the crash and came out to see if they could help, but declined to get involved once Karen started swearing. So there are witnesses. NOP drops on us. Here's the relevant portion of the DMV's crash report with all the street names redacted. Notes. I don't know about other states, but where I come from, the DMV doesn't do all the full details or assign faults. They're only supposed to do one overall description of accident, one sentence summarizing the driver's statement, the same for driver's statement number 2, and any more there may be. The police report and insurance report have the full details. Also, before anyone says it, yes, this is a large divided road, but as I said, it wasn't fully rural, just a semi-rural area, and this is the main artery running through it. This was a town center I was passing through at the time, though the thing about long, straight stretch of road behind me still applies. Yeah, a dirt road is a dirt road, even if it changes right before you get to the intersection. I see this. I see. This ain't something that they would have made in MS Paint. Yeah, and for one thing, no matter what, if that person was going 40, 50, shit, even if they was going 60, the realities are, if the police get a hold of that vehicle, they can pull that data. It's a Jeep Cherokee, so it might be newer. They're going to plug right into that same port. Where your check engine light comes on and you go to AutoZone, they're going to plug right into that same exact port, pull that data. It's going to be crash collision information. It's going to say how fast she was going, information about the vehicle, if she tried to hit her brakes, if she tried to stop, if she tried to swerve. It's going to say all of that. And I guarantee you the insurance company has it. Shit, the insurance company might have had it before the police even tried to give it over. That's how some of these vehicles are. Beep, 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 sending out satellite info. Especially moving forward in the next couple of years. They want to try and pass that bullshit with Congress, so your eyes are being tracked, right? That information is for sure being sent off to your insurance company. Information right now is being sent off to your insurance company right now. That's why you think you might be a good driver, and then you get that progressive bullshit, you hook it up into your truck, and then your rate goes up. It's because, oh, you slammed on your brakes too hard, or oh, you accelerated too fast, or oh, you took a corner too tight. That data is being sent back, that information is being collected, and they're adjusting your rates so they can make as much money as possible. They're saying you're a bad driver. They're holding on to that information, and then they're sharing it with other companies. It's a big collusion to fuck you at the end of the day, to fuck you and I, American citizens. The insurance companies are garbage trash. In reality, it would make more sense if everybody pulled in to states and the money gets held federally and the money just starts going out left and right, left and right, left and right, or left and right. And then people getting sued internally. I know it's a little complex because lawyers have to get involved, right? Because you're only going to put in so much, right? You put in 100, 200, 300 bucks a year. Let's call it $300 a year max. And you're driving for the next 10 years. That is $36,000. And you total somebody's vehicle. And that's evaluated at $40,000. So you're emptying everything that you put in there, right? You owe that motherfucker another $4,000 and then pain and suffering because they were not drunk, you were drunk. And now they're a little folded. They're a little pretzel, you know? So, nah, I'm spitballing. There just needs to be more regulation on the insurance companies, right? That would be the key thing because it just becomes a little complicated. Right. And then people have to sue people at that point. If you made it all money that was state held and, well, I should just say local, money that was all locally and federally held, then you have to sue people individually. But I guess you might save money on the intermediary, right? Because the insurance company is going to pick their own lawyers. And they may fuck you. They may see those insurance bills, those hospital bills, and not want to pay it. Not want to pay a large percentage of it. They may want to say that, oh, you weren't injured that badly. They may do all sorts of bullshit. Just, meh. I hate these people. Hate them, hate them, hate them, hate them, hate them. Hate them. We're over on r/malicious compliance for the first time, with a post by Octohand. I'm assuming that they have 8 hands. Not 4 arms, 8 hands. Threaten to sue me? Go for it. First time posting here. I had a hard time deciding what subreddit to post this story to. Please let me know if this story is more appropriate somewhere else. Also, English isn't my native language, but here goes. I have a 5-year-old daughter with my ex-wife. We broke up about 2.5 years ago. We had some ups and downs during our marriage. We never argued or fought per se, but we did negotiate a lot with strong emotions and opinions. You argued. Yet, we always managed to find some common ground to stand on together. That's why it kind of caught me by surprise when she told me she wanted a divorce. I cried for a couple days, went fishing, and then started planning on how to figure things out. Because neither of us had enough income at that point to keep our car or our house. Jesus. We agreed that I should take care of selling the car and she would get a realtor to start selling our home. Well, it turns out I had to do both. Anyway, we had more debt than money, and she tried to leave all the debt to me while she would start from a clean slate. I wouldn't let her. and I made sure everything we owned and every bit of debt would be split evenly. We agreed that our daughter would live with both of us, splitting the time evenly, as our daughter had the right to having two parents. We promised each other tax civil. This didn't last long. We also had agreed that since our salaries were pretty even, neither of us would pay child support. We also agreed that she would take care of buying most of the clothes, etc., for our kid, since she would get the child benefit, about 100 euros a month here in Finland, paid by the government to support raising offspring. That's a win right there. After the breakup, she started mail ordering new furniture for herself, even before she had found a new apartment for herself. Kind of obvious, but she really didn't have the money for it either. 2 weeks later, she moved out. A week later, I heard from our kid that she had a new man. I didn't really care, just raised some eyebrows, you know? I can only do this right one, or both together. She would often call in sick to her work, usually bullshit reasons. And when her boss gave her some feedback, she didn't fix her attitude, but instead she just quit. She applied to school and got in. After about 2 months, she quit the school too and started demanding me to pay child support. We got a professional weigh in and agreed that I still wouldn't pay a dime to her because she herself had caused her income to collapse. As a goodwill act, I offered to pay for our daughter's insurance. Okay. You guys got child support coming from the government, but not free healthcare? I'm curious about that. I thought the matter was settled, but then she got pregnant by her new man a few months after our breakup. After our divorce was final, there's a 6 months reconsideration time before the judge calls it. She married her new man. These things empowered her into demanding for money again and again and again. So now that you know what kind of person we're dealing with, on to the case. Last fall, she had again demanded money to support our kid. She was working again, and I knew she used our kid as an excuse because she had expressed envy towards my ability to control my finances to the point that even when I had the same amount of money, I could eat in restaurants, etc. I told her that if she needed child support for legitimate reasons, I would of course help, but all the expenses would have to be calculated properly to know the right amount she would need. Instead, she demanded I pay her 200 euros a month and she would take care of all the expenses regarding our daughter. She didn't have any real reasons for the demand other than her need for control. She had always been someone who wanted to have the last say in things. On top of her demand, this time she threatened to sue me if I didn't pay her. What? I pretty much laughed at it until I got a message from her lawyer. At that point, I messaged my ex telling her from now on, I will only discuss this matter via our lawyers and start looking for a lawyer myself. During the next couple of months, things started to look really bad for her case. After getting the papers from the court, I noticed her case was based on false data. She and her lawyer hadn't asked for my income and expenses before they sued me, and she had estimated my income to be a lot more than it actually was. Also, my expenses were estimated to be smaller than actually. At this point, I messaged my ex and asked if she's sure she doesn't want to settle. She didn't, so I decided to go with some malicious compliance and didn't try again. After we both calculated every income and expense of both parties with the help of our lawyers, I, and my lawyer, confirmed that she had enough money to raise our kid. Not only that, it turned out she had more money than me for it. Monthly income minus living costs, medicine, etc., etc. She had more money than I actually had. I burst out laughing at the absurdity of her own case, even more so when she tried to twist things to her favor by sending false evidence to us and the judge, which we noticed instantly. A couple of days go by and my lawyer calls me. She had gotten a call from my ex's lawyer saying she had noticed my ex's line and the whole case is based on lies, and the lawyer wants to settle. It looked like my MC wouldn't go through until my lawyer got a message that for some reason they wouldn't settle after all. Game on. The judgment. We went to court. The judge was annoyed but composed. He asked my ex's lawyer about their demands. The lawyer started by saying, "First of all, I'm going to tell you a bit of backstory." And the judge cut him off, telling him to just state the demands. After a few seconds of silence, the lawyer told the judge, "No demands." The judge was both dumbfounded and livid, asking, "Then why are we here?" To which the lawyer said something along the lines of, "That's what we're asking too." Then the judge asked my ex's lawyer, "To be clear, didn't you want to settle?" And the lawyer sheepishly told the judge that my ex wouldn't agree to settle. They were so embarrassed. It was so glorious, like some kind of divine karma being served right at my Karen of an ex. The judge ordered us to go to a meeting room for 20 minutes and to come back with a settlement agreement. Because she had more money, we negotiated that she would pay for our kids' hobbies, insurance, etc., to compensate for the difference. The judge verified it, and my party left the courtroom very happy. My ex, on the other hand, was bouncing between being angry and being embarrassed. The fallout. A couple of weeks ago, my ex demanded that she would make changes to the schedule on how our kid would swap homes. I declined, saying we have an agreement. She threatened to sue me, to which I just reminded her about the last time she wanted to get what she wants by suing me, asking if she really wants to do it again. She got mad, and I just ignored it. About a week ago, she sent me a message saying that she had a fight with her husband. Police were called because she attacked him and she wanted a divorce. The police had to inform Child Protective Services, and since there were kids present, mine included, of course. Basically, her whole life is going down the drain. 2 kids to different fathers, 2 divorces before she has even turned 30, a lot of debt and expenses, and looks like our kid will be spending the majority of her time at my place, which is what our kid has wanted for the past 2-ish years. This is the kind of legal trouble that you guys out here do not want to put yourselves in. This is crashing and burning on purpose. I couldn't imagine maneuvering through life like this. Good Lord. Oh my God. Top comments by Nanny Nanny Boo Boo with 1.3K votes. I'm sorry. I can't. It sounds like a divorce was a good thing for you. Maybe consider whether your child would be better off living with you and visiting the mother occasionally. And OP replies to that, "Yes, I've never been happier. I also have a new wifey, not married yet, and my kid loves her new stepmom. Also, I'm seriously considering pursuing for our kid to stay here most of the time, depending on the outcome of the CPS report." Yes, you should. Yes, you should. And Baby 8227 replies, "And getting child support from mommy dearest, obviously." And OP replies, "Obviously, I'm agreeing with this. And late external 3249 drops a comment that is relevant. "Please tell me that woman number 2 is a more stable person. Wise advice to you. Don't stick your dick in crazy." And OP replies, "She's amazing. A grown woman, works with kids, takes care of her own finances, and she cares for my daughter as she was her own. Love her." Okay. Here's the thing, people. When you run into and figure out, oh, I've been dating a crazy person, oh, I've been dating a person who is heavily mentally ill and they are not taking care of their mental health, you have to recognize that you might end up with a similar person in the future because you have a type. So this is relevant, not for the don't stick your dick in crazy, for being curious if his new person is more stable, right? So hopefully he did not go for a similar type. Hopefully. Right. Hopefully. Mizunamo. This is Japanese, probably. Mizunamo replies to OP, quoting their quotes from OP. My kid loves her new stepmom. Mizunamo says, this is awesome. When my ex-wife was about to get married again, I was worried about how our daughter would get along with her new stepfather. Meeting him and his daughters and seeing how well my daughter and they all liked each other put my heart at ease. Shit, my own stepmother didn't care for her, really. I was like super neutral about her all the way up until the end of my father's marriage. And it's just like, yeah, why did you pick so poorly? OP replies to Mizunamo, this is what a sane person would do and think. My ex, on the other hand, freaked out when I started dating, and even more so when our daughter told her mom that she liked her new stepmom. She felt threatened. I just had to try and tell my ex that I think it's only a positive thing for a kid to have as much trustworthy adults in her life. As much trustworthy adults? Whatever. I had to have this conversation with her so many times I lost count. You did good not picking wrong the second time around. I feel bad for your ex because what is she going on that she's out here attacking her new baby daddy, I guess. Man, I feel bad for those kids. Because no matter what, even if OP gets Monday to Friday, Saturday and Sunday, with the mom, it's just like tragic. Because then she's off of school, and the mom is off of work, and she's just there to be a bad influence. I wonder would there be a way, because this is Finland, right? I wonder would there be a way to force the courts to get like a psyche valve and then force the mom to get mental health help. mental health help. That pause is crazy. Let's see what we got here. Any more comments that I like? Nope. Nope. Just OP saying that he's not going to fall for any dumb tactics, saying that he's got cameras outside of his house, saying he's never going to fall for his ex again, and that he was young and dumb when he got with her. That is one thing that's like super important, right? You should wait until after 25 to pop a kid out. 25 to 35, that's the window I give you guys, right? Because once you're past your 30s, you start raising your risk for various types of genetic diseases to be passed along to your children, and the rate of miscarriages goes up. Whether you're an older woman or an older man, right? It goes hand in hand. It takes two to tango. And so if you're an older man, older than 30, older than 35, older than 40, older than 45, you think, oh, I can keep spraying it till I'm 70. Yeah, and you're causing massive miscarriages in the partners that you're with because you're old and the genetic capability of your sperm is nil. You are legitimately hurting women out here, all right? And I put that on Stanford because they did the studies for it. Y'all trying to get swifty with me? Let's get swifty. Let's get swifty. Since we're not doing a fit check, we're doing a Funko Pop check, right? I only have so many Funko Pops left to show off to you guys, and then I'm gonna start showing off my comic collection to you. But yeah, Swifty Morty. Boop. I need something to like put right here on top of the on-air sign, so I can just slot the comics in, like a nice little stand. Nothing too fancy, just something. Boom. Y'all can see a little bit of aspect of me, rather than my crazy ass takes. You should punch that motherfucker in the face. You should kick their teeth in, kick the door. Set the house on fire. No, I'm just a nerdy motherfucker. We are over in a brand new subreddit, r/petty revenge. with a post by Blake Angel 715. Blake spelled Blak. Or maybe you meant black. No C, no E. Meh. Refuse service when legally you can't. Hope you enjoy the fine. I live in Portugal. Here, when something happens at a commercial space, you write in the complaints book. My parents own a business, which means I am fairly well informed about how these things work. I recently had an encounter at this kiosk with this man, and he lingered at my card, checking numbers, names, flipping it over, and looking at the CVV all too long. It was uncomfortable. Let me tell you about the exchange. Me. Good morning. I would like 2 packs of Winston 100s, 26 cigarettes. He proceeds to ask for my card with a hand gesture. Him. It's 12:20. Hand gesture again. No, that's a terrible voice. Me. I would prefer to insert the card myself. Him. You can't do that. Still a terrible voice. Me. I won't touch the machine at all. Only insert the card. Him. Throws the machine down in disbelief. I can't let you do that. Me. Are you refusing service? Him. Yes. Those voices are terrible. Honestly. I just wanted you to see the difference. But, meh. I asked for the complaints book. He refused, which legally he can't. But it was just me and him. I'll wait until another client shows up and ask for it again. He relents and gives it to me. As I opened it, I realized I didn't have a pen. You have to write out your complaint by hand. I asked for one. He refuses. I say, okay. As soon as I open the book, I see something wrong. The first complaint is completely ripped out. All 3 pages are. The first page is for the person who makes the complaint. The second page is a copy for the business. And the third page remains in the book. Under no circumstance is the third page to disappear, even if it's a mistake or taken back by the person who makes the complaint. It must remain in the book. Seeing as I had no pen, I start the process online, take the info, and start snapping pictures of the missing pages. As soon as he saw me taking pictures, he does a beeline from around the counter to me and tries to take the book away. I said I have every right to keep this book until I'm done with my complaint. He gets huffy and more clients show up. He goes back behind the counter. The thing about these complaints books is that you write it in ink, but then you have to follow through and submit them online to the proper authority, depending on the complaint. But I didn't have a pen yet. So I bypassed the ink format and immediately submitted online, mentioning the weird analysis of my card, the refusal of service, and as the last middle finger on the fuck you sandwich, I also mentioned the missing pages with the pictures of the missing pages itself, including the business stamp in the same picture so they can't refute and say it's some other book. Steve Hopstetter, if you know, you know. Now, because it was online, it goes straight to the authority, ASAE. If you don't know, that's the Economic and Food Safety Authority for Portugal. And you can choose which department depending on the complaint. After an hour of nicotine withdrawal, of looking up the business, taking the pictures, and writing the complaint itself, I hand the book in with no written complaint. He opens it and chuckles to himself and says smugly, did you give up because you didn't have a pen? I say no, because I didn't have a pen. I decided to submit the form directly online. As my last mic drop moment, I said I didn't feel comfortable writing it in the book, as the first complaint had magically disappeared from the book. The color from his face drained because we both know what would happen. Even if they don't take the complaint seriously, tampering with the book is absolutely taken seriously, and that absolutely will be followed up and fined accordingly. Then I smiled and said, I wish I had a pen, and left. Ooh, I love it. I love it. This is interesting, right? Because there are so many businesses, right? I can see this being a Portugal thing. This could for sure be like a state by state thing here, where they have a department set up like this. And if you're on bullshit, if you see that there are scamming activities going on potentially by the owner, right? You can put that complaint in there. And they have to hold on to it. If you want to do business here, if you want to have a storefront here, if you want to sell things, you have to follow these rules, pay these taxes, and treat your customers well, right? And just for the customers who may be on Karen bullshit, may be lying fuckity fuckwucks, the government should come in and be like, hey, here's the standard. You put these cameras up, you can have these monitoring. I can say the word monitoring devices, right? You can have mics record. You can have them pointed at these places, and specifically in these areas. Boom, boom, boom. These are where the customers are. These are where your employees are. These are where they can't be. These are where they can't be. These are where they can't be. And then you have information if you want to fight it. Say people put in a bullshit complaint. Okay. All right. Just know the camera's pointing right at your weird ass and it's picking up audio right now. This would be the kind of thing where it would benefit us. Oh, matter of fact, because we're going to have all these AI data centers, all these fusion centers collecting all this data, and the bubble's going to pop. So they're not going to be able to use them all. It would be cool to be able to route information and data there, hold it for a year to 5 years. And then it's just a small little fee. You feel me? If you have all these businesses routing it all here, you got 1080p, 4K, 2K compressed data into zips and folders, dates and times, timestamps. This would be best. And whenever there are crimes committed, police can pull it. Whenever there are complaints made, you can pull it. They can pull it if it's needed. Yeah, this would be pretty cool. And oh man, there's a larger surveillance state. Yeah, but it's for your benefit. It's not no bullshit ass flock safety cameras, right? It's not no drones out there in the sky. No, it's none of that shit. It's strictly for the business and for the customers of the businesses. All right, that's what we're in right there. Because you got cameras pointing inside and then outside to your parking lot areas. You know, that's it. Top comments by Unable Quarter 2215. They got 3.1K upvotes for this one. Hell hath no fury like an addict scorned. Don't get between me and my nicotine. LMAO. And OP responds, bro, all I wanted was a cigarette, but he had to be weird about it and then be a dick. FAFO, I guess. Fuck around and find out. You gotta love that. Unable Quarter responds to OP. Do you get notified about the results of a complaint? Would like to hear part 2. We don't have complaint books in the USA, to my knowledge, but I would love to see actual consequences. And OP responds, you do get a registered letter that they acknowledge the complaint and the fallout or explanation as to why it wasn't or was investigated. But I already got a confirmation email. Ooh, baby, we got updates. We got updates, but a little bit more of a breakdown because Crafty Shape 2743 starts asking questions. Is this complaint book just a Portugal requirement or is it more widespread? I've never heard of anything like this. It sounds interesting. Do all stores and companies have a complaint book? As a customer, can you just ask to see their complaint book before you do business with a company? And OP responds, every commercial space has one. It's like a formal suggestion box for negative complaints, but taken seriously. The third page of every complaint remains in the book to provide context for the next user. If related, you can absolutely ask for it and consult if you want, but that's not really practiced here as a normal client. But it would be completely make sense. Oh, I can't read. But it would completely make sense to see if you were to go into business with a certain entity and see how they operate. It's at no point can be refused by owner or worker, and if it is the person complaining, has more ammunition to put in the complaint. Yo, I like this. And Carlos Khan Almendras replies to OP. In Spain, it's similar. It's similar, you put is. And if they refuse to give it to you, you can call the police and they will help you write your complaint and explain all the next steps. Damn, there isn't anything similar in France and I miss it. I had more opportunities to write my complaints in France than my whole life in Spain. Yeah, I can see this being state by state, right? I can see this being state by state. I don't know if this will like a certain number of complaints or specialized complaints or certain complaints will lead to like a removal of licenses besides fines. But yeah, turning in that book every single year alongside of the installment of the cameras, right? This easily leads to specific American jobs, right? This leads to whole new agency branches being opened, specializing, right, in taking care of customers and taking care of businesses. This leads to every year consistently new books having to be printed, right? Books having to be collected, books having to be printed, right? Maybe even a 9-to-5 hotline to deal with certain information. Definitely online, right? Keeping things up to date. And what else? Yeah, like I said, a very specialized company. Not some bullshit, right? Not some Amazon Ring doorbell, not some bullshit flock safety, none of that. Because we hate billion and trillion dollar companies. Fuck capitalism, right? Fuck capitalism. We are a over-consuming hyper-capitalist. Absolutely. We like our expensive things, right? But the reality is, for a better world, I will give up all that shit. Yeah, I can absolutely see more jobs being made. A decentralized and centralized network setting up, because then you have to start paying for like more data to like offload your footage. So I can see like Comcast and AT&T trying to fuck people over like that. You get your cameras to run 24/7, compress the data in such a way, again, like I said, and then it gets offloaded to hard drives. Yeah, this makes things cheaper, especially once they start getting bought in mass. Right, it's business to business, but we're not doing the M.2s. Right, we're not doing the classic SSDs. I can't pop this open, but it's not a chip in here. It's not a tiny little, what's the word? A little gum stick in there. It's a classic SSD from the 2010s. So this means more hard drives. You can take these puppies, ship them out, right? Package them up, send them off to the data center. Boom, boom. They get offloaded. You get these puppies shipped back in periodically. Then that just creates more and more jobs, and within multiple different industries, right? You have to, let's say, recycle the paper, and in turn the paper gets made into the books. The books have to get shipped in and out, right? There has to be somebody to explain. You got the different, you got the specialized individual company that has branches in every single state that's coming out and helping you set up camera equipment, right? And there's no crazy upfront cost. It gets paid monthly or yearly, right? And then if there are damages, that just gets tacked on to your bill, because we don't want to bankrupt businesses. Businesses already fail, in the first couple of years in America, 99%. So if you got a successful storefront, we want to make sure you're well taken care of. If there's stuff going on, we want to make sure it's well taken care of. There are already so many incidents, crimes, where young people are murdered because of somebody's bad eyesight, chasing them out into the street and removing their life from this plane of existence in cold blood. No, you don't have to go chasing anybody anymore. You got fucking cameras recording you in goddamn 8K, Okay. Now that footage is easily, that goddamn police officer pulls up with his own USB. He's taking a statement, plugging right up into your computer system. Whoop, whoop, plugging right in. I got the data from this time slot. Okay. This petty crime, this petty theft that you assume that you saw cannot be viewed from multiple different angles, right? Because these cameras have specially been made and they're mass produced, so they're cheap. They don't cost a lot. The data is cheap because it's mass produced. It doesn't cost a lot, right? And they have to be replaced every however many bits of cycles, right? Because you can't just fill it up, mail it off, get it back, fill it up, mail it off, send it back, fill it up, mail it, blah, blah, blah. It's not going to happen. Eventually, it's going to hit its usefulness. You will want it in a RAID configuration anyway. So you're going to need new ones, and you're paying for that. It's your normal costs. And then what do you normally do, right? When you have business costs, whatever percent you can, whatever dollar amounts you can, you write it off in your taxes, right? Maybe even the state handles this up front. Oh, you got a small business, but you don't have a storefront, so you don't need the cameras. All right, but I'm gonna start ranting and raving more. Because at the end of the day, we got an update. Updates. Ooh, so I did get the register letter acknowledging what happened, and I laughed a lot from the response. I was completely within my rights for refusing to hand over my card. He was wrong for refusing service. He got a 2,500 euro fine for the book, which has to be replaced, which is a lot. Minimum wage here is 870 euros. I did get some tea from the nice girl that works there. Ooh, we love our tea. We love our tea. One, he is the owner, not an employee. So nobody lost their job because of me. Two, that week he got an irate call from his wife screaming at him for apparently pulling this shit again. He's done it before. Three, his wife is a no-nonsense woman who wears the pants and now spends her day chaperoning him on the days he works there. There are few far in between. She's just sitting to the side. She's a housewife, so she has the time. And four, he has not been as present as he used to be. Yeah, he don't want his wife up his ass unless they're in the bedroom. I go to the supermarket regularly, and now when I see him, I smile and wave, just like the penguins of Madagascar, and enjoy the warm, fuzzy feeling I get when he looks at me with disdain. He honestly looks miserable. All he had to do was not be a dick, and he ran his business up to the legal standards. This would not have happened. I am happy to know he fucked around and found out. Madagascar wave. Yee. Oh my God. Top comment, of course. Top comment. Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. Coming from Booter Tutor Bravo with 456 upvotes. Now, the leader user came in and dropped a comment off that OP replied to, so we gonna read this and we gonna slide on. I am an American, and a complaint book is a wonderful idea, but I am legit wondering what happens when someone files a complaint and is in the wrong. I am thinking of the Karens. I have witnessed a lot of a-holes who are terrible to the workers, manipulative, or downright dumb. OP responds, it's disregarded, and the register letter that comes details as to why and how. Funny enough, that the entity that handles these complaints can pull up past complaints for the same person if it's a pattern. We need federal and local government to thoroughly come together with systems like these and make sure it is locked tight, because I can easily see this being a thing that is a false police report, right? And what happens with most false police reports? The person bullshitting does not get in trouble. No. Fine. Hand that fucking money over. Fine. Oh, you've been doing false police reports for years? jail, time. Hand that money over steal, because here's another fine, right? You're bullshitting, right? You're bullshitting. Once you cry wolf 3 times, right? Once you cry wolf, let's just say 10. Let's just say 10, because maybe someone's being abused and the abuser is good at it. The abuser is good at it. They're hiding all the evidence. They're hiding all the proof, right? The abuser is fantastic at it. So after it's 10 times, federal. And since we're sending you to federal, we're doing a federal investigation, right? And that conviction rate is 99%. 99%, right? And unless you're African American, your odds of getting exonerated for your federal crime, right? They say, oh, black people commit a lot of crimes. They commit a lot of crimes. And you look at the FBI crime statistics, oh man, they're getting arrested a lot. And then you look at the exoneration rates, oh man, they didn't do a lot of these fucking crimes. They're getting freed. Oh, 60% exoneration rate. Oh man, all of a sudden the stats and the statistics, they don't line up appropriately. They line up with population rates, poverty rates, crimes committed in communities that are understandable that they were committed in those communities. If you're poor, you're going to steal. If you're rich, you're going to commit tax fraud. And those rates generally happen across the fucking board for all the ethnicities and all races and nationalities who live here within America. It's pretty fucking simple. It's only once you start looking at a certain race where the crimes that they commit against children, for whatever reason, are twice their ethnicity and gender. And if you're familiar with what I'm saying off rip, you understand that those people are not being exonerated. They're not being set free because false information and lies put on their back. Right? You're aware. So yeah, false. Just a lot of things need to be revamped and redone. We're sitting on hundreds of year-old laws, 200, 300, 400-year-old laws from back before the country was even a country, when there was just a fucking couple colonies, couple handfuls of states, right? Before we had a damn constitution, where we're still running and ripping and rocking these laws. Things need to get redone, right? Our cop system, it is just like, hey, I live here. I'll be the sheriff, right? And that came off the back of catching slaves, and that developed into the system that we have now. Start from the top, start from the bottom, redo it, right? Let's go small city by small city, large city by large city, where the money is and where the money isn't. Let's do some studies. Let's get this data going, and let's adjust and let's better things as we move along. Let's make things better for the people. Let's take care of, handle things for the people. Because when there are consequences for people's actions, when people are being helped, right, the society changes for the better. Then you won't have Karens running around like this, lying on people. Why? Because there will be consequences for their action. Oh, this big white man, he just tried to hit me. And then what do we have? We got cameras here, we got cameras there, pointing inside the building, pointing into the parking lot, picking up audio. We got witnesses. We got. Of course, they got GPS and geolocation data, right? So that's a separate thing. It's a separate thing. You're being tracked. You like my Israel phone? I'm also being tracked all the time. And then accountability just comes and kicks in. And it's not because, oh, let me be better to not get in trouble. It is people see the consequences for others, and then it's like, ooh, let me not do this thing because I'll get in trouble. And then eventually they have kids, or the people who are in association or saw these things, they have children, and they tell these stories. Or they just happen to tell other children these stories, or happen to tell other people, and other people tell their kids growing up these stories. And whether it comes from the side of, you'll get in trouble, you shouldn't do this, or this is morally irreprehensible, you shouldn't do this, the next generation gets better and better and better. And people need consequences for their actions, right? It's just that simple. It's just that simple. That's why these rich motherfuckers keep getting away with shit, because I want to steal $100 billion from the people. Okay, here's Here's $100 million fine. Yes, I've made it away with 999. I've made it away with 99,999,999,000,000. I made it away with $99,900,000,000. Right, it's never that egregious of a difference. It's normally like, well, actually, sometimes yeah, it is a 1% fine of like the shit that they ran off with. It's just never generally they get. Well, actually, if you guys bank with any online banks, right, this akin to like a Cash App, don't bank with them. There's recently been a string of people losing access to their accounts. There's a More Perfect Union video. I'll drop it in the readings so you can watch that video, where they've been going into their accounts trying to pull out of their high yield savings accounts, and there's no money for them. They've been putting in $50 here every single week, $100 here, a couple thousand here to start off. And when they go to pull it, because they got an emergency, I need 10 bands real quick, nothing for them. Because there's a loophole in the system, which isn't really a loophole, if our government would enforce the laws, where you're a tech company, the brick and mortar bank is separate. So money gets funneled through, gets handled over here. These people start lying back and forth. Your FDIC insurance does not cover through this entity. So these motherfuckers are escaping off with tens of billions of dollars, right? Tens of billions. And of course, they're giving some money back because they don't want to deal with such an insane class action lawsuit. But if a handful of motherfuckers are escaping off with just $1 billion, $1 billion, they're fucking rich. Fucking rich. You put 3 milli into a fund where all the stock is giving you nothing but dividends, and you're collecting every year. You're cashing out $120,000 every single damn year. Just because the damn stock market is doing 7%. So I got to ranting and raving and rambling. Have y'all ever just told me to shut the fuck up when I started talking like this? Remember, if you want to, you absolutely can skip ahead in these stories. You absolutely can skip ahead. You do not have to listen to me just right? I call it babber gibble. Babble gibber? I used to have a phrase for it. Babble gibber. Yeah, babble because you're babbling. Gibber because it's gibberish. Babber gibble. Yep, that's my phrasing. That's me, coined by me here. Yep, circa 5:53 p.m. on July 27th, 2026. Yeah, babber gibble. It's a Monday. But you guys are listening to this on Tuesday, so I love you. We're over in r/legal advice with a post by ABC Anon, XYZ Anon. I didn't pick that username. Made a terrible mistake, and I may lose everything. Coworker suing me. Using an anonymous account to protect myself. I am in the medical field, and I got close to another coworker who is not in the same field, but also a medical professional. We went out for drinks as a group, and I thought we hit it off. Went home with her, and we had sex. She immediately regretted it and left. Her excuse was, "You don't shit where you eat." Saw her at work. We spoke a little bit, and she said that can never happen again, and we should stop contacting each other. Later, I found out she had a boyfriend. This made me very angry. I did something stupid and said along the lines, "If you won't sleep with me again or cut off contact, I am telling your guy." It was a joke. I have to say I was texting her more than she was replying. I sent her photos of myself, and she said I crossed the line, but read it as a sort of joking way. I sent other pics, and there was no reply for days. I went to her floor, and she was not there. So I tried calling and texting multiple times with no answer. I finally get a message from her saying she is going to HR and will be speaking to a lawyer, accusing me of threats and harassment. I thought she was joking, but I got a call from someone saying they are her lawyer. I have worked so hard to get to where I am. I am an international employee working on a visa and have been to this country for a few years. I'm scared of trying to figure out what to do. Please help me. How can I better approach this? I'm sorry, English is not my first language, and I'm nervously typing this. You're fucked. You're fucked. You're fucked. You're fucked. This is and you deserve it. Bro, you came off so creepy and rapey in here. If somebody came out the woodworks and bashed you over the head, right, and we never heard it from you again, I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine with that. This is like, so this post is 8 years old. And so we can see this as 2018. It's not early enough in the timeline for me to even think that they thought this was appropriate behavior, right? They thought this is how men and women act, right? They thought, oh, she's just playing hard to get. Let me send her some dick pics. Let me click 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 click, good angles, click 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 click. Let me. She'll remember what she had, right? If I was to like do any bit of victim blaming, both sides, devil's advocate, oh, she cheated, right? Oh, she got drunk and she cheated. But actually, I can't even both sides it. People, you cannot do any types of drugs and or be inebriated and have consensual sex. You cannot do it. I know it sounded weird when I said that. I know. I just had cheesecake. So I can't even blame her. She went out to have drinks with her coworkers, got drunk, was not in her right mind, cheated on her man, right, and proceeded to cut it off. And this motherfucker came off the creepiest, pushiest, nastiest, like, oh yeah, let me just go find her floor. Let me just go find her on her floor, right? Because she works below me. Let me go try and I can just get back with her, right? Let me tell her to cut it off with her man, or in a joking manner. I'm gonna send all the information that I got. Oh, I was recording this on the low. I was hitting it from the back, and I'm gonna send a video over to her man. Bro, this shit is so fucking nasty. So nasty. There's no. I don't want to hear anything from any red pill weirdo loser. No, she cheated on her man. She gets what she deserves. I don't want to hear none of that bullshit. None of that bullshit. Again, for the people. Liquor is a drug. Liquor is poison. This shit may be societally acceptable, but there are hundreds of thousands of deaths that happen from DUIs, and hundreds of thousands of deaths that happen from liver-related effects every single year. It's fucking up there with heart disease. Heart disease. I'm sure if the shit was compounded truly, really, it would be fucking number one. Right? Fuck heart disease, fuck cancer, fuck diabetes, fuck obesity. Drinking liquor kills people. Since it is a drug, you cannot consent to any sexual acts when you are inebriated. I'm not even going to try to quantify it with your blood alcohol level should be this. Fuck no. Fuck no. You are under the influence of a drug. You do not have all of your mental faculties. Therefore, ergo, you cannot consent to sex. I can see why she regretted it. She was off her shit. She was off her rockers. There is no information here for how much she drunk. Shit. I could flip the script and say that he slipped her some shit. I could say that he was feeding her drinks all night. I could say he was being incredibly pushy, that he brought her back to her place. And hey, it went down from his end, and she barely remembers it. She probably blames herself. I can really go down that route because his actions afterward shows that he's not a good person. You don't joke about spreading your devious sexual actions and then proceed to start stalking a motherfucker at their workplace, even though you work together. You're on different fucking floors. You don't even have to interact with her. Top comment. Give me. I don't know how the top comment pulled up right. From a deleted user. It wasn't a joke. You're absolutely sexually harassing this woman. You will be losing your job and you need an attorney for the rest. 1.2K upvotes. And OP replies, this shit got downvoted to oblivion. Minus 664. 664 downvotes. It's technically more than that because I'm sure there's some fucking weirdos who upvoted this shit. They say, I didn't sexually harass her. The sex we had was consensual. For the third fucking time. For the third fucking time. When you drink, when you are inebriated, when you are under the influence of any drug, and liquor is a fucking drug, you cannot consent to having sexual relations. And this goes for Bill Cosby too. The Quaalude shit ain't cute. It's not a joke. It's not funny. The deleted user says everything you did after the sex was sexual harassment. Just because she had sex with you once doesn't mean you get to pester her for the rest of her life. And coming from me, you're a creepy fucking weirdo, man. King Kid quotes part of OP's story. Did something stupid and said along the lines, if you won't sleep with me again or cut off contact, I am telling your guy. And they go on to say, so blackmail and /or quid pro quo. Then she asked you to stop and you didn't. You're going to get fired, almost a guarantee. You should not ever attempt to think about contacting or speaking with this person ever again. You should hire an attorney. And OP responds to this. 418 downvotes. Minus, they're in the negative. I will do anything not to lose my job. I have 1 year left on my program to practice. I made a stupid, terrible mistake. What I thought was a joke. Now I see it's serious. I'm going to look for a lawyer now. This isn't first time behavior. This isn't first time behavior. This isn't a mistake. This is a series of choices based upon how you were raised and socialized in your environment when you grew up, raised by your parents, all around a bunch of shit ass people, right? And they enabled this within themselves and you especially, and along with inside of others, to think that this behavior is okay. You thought the way that you were acting was a joke. What the fuck is funny about that? What is funny about that? I should be laughing. We should all be laughing if that shit is funny, if that shit is a joke. If it's a crumb, most things don't come with emotion as they come across in a text message. So you have to work really hard to get a motherfucker to laugh at a joke via text. And that shit was not funny. And I'm going to laugh at damn near everything. I'm laughing at you internally right now, thinking about you getting fucked up in a parking lot by her boyfriend. And now I'm laughing externally. Deleted user spins around with 866 upvotes. They're in the positive, baby. Okay, let's abandon the completely ludicrous idea that you thought all of this was a joke. You didn't make a mistake. You made a series of bad, very bad mistakes that range from sexual harassment to blackmail. Those aren't mistakes. Those were deliberate actions on your part to try to coerce a sexual relationship with someone who repeatedly told you to stop. This isn't a cultural issue or an American law issue. You just didn't give a shit that she didn't want to have sex with you anymore and try to coerce her into sex. You are lucky if all you lose is your job, and frankly, you deserve to. After you're fired, get a lawyer to help you deal with your employment visa. If you're arrested for sexual harassment or blackmail, ask for a lawyer and don't speak to the cops at all. I wish you didn't even leave this part. Honestly, I understand that this is the legal advice subreddit, that you have to give legal advice rather than just bash the shit out of a motherfucker. But I wish you didn't give advice to this creepy loser piece of shit. Let's see. Actually, Kate drops a comment, 569 upvotes. Literally every part of everything you did is sexual harassment. And OP responds, 291 downvotes. In the negative. If you say that, then I have a lot to learn. I am unfamiliar with the American law system, so I didn't think what I was doing or writing was sexual harassment. Now I know. Gelcor responds to Opie. You threatened a woman in writing that if she didn't sleep with you again, you were going to retaliate against her. You sent her multiple pictures of what we assume are a sexual nature. When she told you not to contact her, talking to people when they want you to stop is by definition harassment. When that is of a sexual nature, it is sexual harassment. 616 outvotes. I am thoroughly disgusted by this creature. Thoroughly disgusted by this creature. Let's go to the update. All right. We're over in Best of Redditor updates because the way they formatted that update on their page was garbage trash. And they didn't have any comments to read from. So I want to take this opportunity to apologize to anyone I may have offended by my post last week. I read every comment. Was too shocked and embarrassed by my ignorance to reply. I get it. I was very wrong. Although I don't think I deserve the death threats in my messages. Bitch, you deserve worse. When I got a letter from her attorney, I wrote back apologizing for the disrespect and my rude messages. What I thought was a joke was not funny. My friends, although supportive, called me out on my harassment. I am a medical professional and should have known better. I won't blame it on my culture. I am from India/Pakistan. The fact of the matter is you type Indian/Pakistan makes me think this is bullshit. Honestly, this might be rage bait to make foreign people look bad, but we're going to roll with it. I am in a foreign country and I know I have to abide by the rules. I was unfortunately suspended. We'll keep details private to protect myself, but not fired. You should have just your head split open. Moving forward, I have spoken to the woman in my family and I am considering therapy to help better myself. I am willing to show that I am working on myself and very sorry for the hurt I caused. Biggest mistake was not getting my own lawyer like everyone suggested. Thanks again and happy holidays to all. Your biggest mistake was not getting your own lawyer like everyone suggested? So if I was to like blame a culture, I would blame male culture, right? I would blame the patriarchy because systemically and historically, women have been oppressed, and all, to my knowledge, right? Because maybe there hasn't been in some certain countries, in all of history, in all cultures, in all nations, right? Women have been oppressed by men, and they have been used and abused. They have only been viewed as brood mares, chefs, and maids. Right? If you don't know what a brood mare is, you can Google it and sound that shit out and type it in, and then you can be fucking disgusted by my example. Right? You can be disgusted. I'm fine with that. He doesn't deserve his job. I don't even know why they gave him a chance. Maybe his victim spun back and was like, "Oh no, don't fire him." I don't know. The realities are that we are just a few decades removed from this constant legalized beating down on women, having them essentially be property, be equal to children with having no rights, existing for the man that they are married to or to be married off to, and just being an accessory, a tool to men. We are just so shortly removed that your own parents, your own mother, thinks that you maneuvering through life with a job, with a career, going down a path of education in college for a bachelor's, a master's, or a doctorate, they think that you shouldn't be doing that. And they're fucking wrong and dumb. It would be better for you to cut off contact with them. Honestly, I don't care what their culture says. I don't care what their religion says. They're wrong. I can say it with my whole chest. They can run the fade with me, or they can send their God after me. Everyone's going to lose. They're going to get their head stumped in. Like this guy should have had his head stumped in. I don't want to read any comments. Right? The comments from Best Redder updates are irrelevant to me. I'm annoyed. We're over an r/legal advice with a post by Legal to Sue. Terminated. Company says I can't sue. New York edition. I held a management position at a company. I asked a non-management employee of the opposite sex to step into another room to discuss her performance away from other employees. She was going through a divorce and had made a few mistakes. And while I didn't want to embarrass her, I did want to make sure the mistakes were addressed. She acknowledged it and thanked me. An hour later, I was escorted from my office by security and was informed by my boss that a sexual harassment complaint had been made and proper protocol was to suspend me. I asked what it was and was told we need to investigate. I can't disclose that. He assured me that it wouldn't take long, and if I wasn't guilty of anything, I'd be paid for the time out. Cut this part out. He assured me that it wouldn't take long, and if I wasn't guilty of anything, I'd be paid for the time out. I again asked what the accusation was and was told that as there was an ongoing investigation, I was not permitted to know. But if they had questions, I would be contacted. I wasn't happy, but knowing that I didn't do anything wrong, I left the building. Later that night, I received a notification on my phone that my email password was incorrect. After 2 days, I called my boss asking for an update and was told he was not available, but I would hear something soon. I began calling daily and received the same response. Finally, I received a letter in the mail informing me that I was terminated for exposing myself and requesting sexual favors from an employee. The employee listed was the young lady I pulled into the side room. I immediately called up my boss and was told he is unavailable and said that the matter is closed. My buddy, the IT guy, messaged me on Facebook asking what happened as he'd been told to deactivate my accounts. When I told him the whole story, he replied, "You took her into this room?" Dude, there's a security camera in there. We keep it in there so we always have the camera on. Whatever it is, I don't know. Sure enough, he pulls the footage, and there I am. I'm holding a pile of papers, pointing to them, and keeping my pants on the whole time. I left a message from my boss that the alleged incident occurred in a room with surveillance and that I would be contacting a lawyer and subpoenaing the video record. I received a call back 15 minutes later asking me to please participate in a phone conference with him and HR. The conference went as expected. They didn't realize it had occurred in a room with surveillance. They had a zero tolerance policy that they have to enforce. You can't be too careful in this day and age. They regret that this didn't come to light sooner, they say. They've already replaced me. And as it wouldn't be fair to terminate my replacement as she's doing nothing wrong, they don't have a job to offer me back. However, as a gesture of goodwill, they're going to pay me through my suspension, change my file so it reads that I voluntarily resigned, and provide me a good reference. I replied that wasn't acceptable. They made a false accusation against me, withheld vital information that I could have easily refuted, refused to take my calls, and completely failed in their own investigation by not checking video footage that would have immediately exonerated me. They asked what I thought would be fair. I told them they could immediately terminate the employee who made the accusation and either give me my job back or pay me out 1 year's salary in addition to what was offered. My boss said that he could not discuss another employee with me and that neither of those options are feasible. The only options I have are what he already offered. I replied that the options I gave are the only way I'm not going to sue the company along with the employee. My boss replied that I signed an agreement when I was first hired, saying that I would take all disputes through arbitration and that I waived my rights to sue the company. I do not remember signing the agreement, and I have not seen it, but it apparently says I will take all disputes to arbitration. I will bear the cost of arbitration, and that I will accept the decision in arbitration. He stated I will not fare any better in arbitration than he's already offered, and I'll be out the money to cover the arbitration. I feel like I'm being bullied here, and don't think he would have scheduled a phone conference with such immediacy if he didn't think the company was vulnerable to a lawsuit. I'm waiting on a call back from a few employment attorneys. Do I have a case? Am I wrong to feel that this is unacceptable? No, you're not. This is bullshit. They're railroading the fuck out of you. Lawyer, 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 lawyer up. Lawyer up, assholes, because I'm coming back to take everything. Editor me, put it in here. Man, this is... There are many, many, many updates. Many updates. I'm aware of all the lore. I have all the information. But the top comment with 549 votes says, oh, this is the best comment, not the top comment. Don't take legal advice from your opponent. Of course you can sue. The feasibility of winning that suit is best discussed with your attorney. And OP replies, that's why I came here. They certainly don't have my best interests in mind. And remember, that arbitration thing is bullshit. Bullshit. It shouldn't even be a thing. It shouldn't even be a thing. You're forcing me to sign a document saying that anything that goes wrong in here, I have to legally come within your room and fight my case against you, not in the court of law. Fuck no. That should be a fucking amendment in the Constitution that's not a thing. I'm sure when you're getting onboarded and you're getting hired that very first day, there are a shit ton of companies just saying, hey, sign this. Don't sign that bullshit. Don't sign that bullshit. Skip it. Pretend like you signed it. Right. I don't even know if legally you can put squiggles or you can put refuse to sign in the signature bar, and that does not count as a signature, legally binding. That might be the vibes. Whatever documents that you're handed that you're legally binding, that people are saying to sign, date, put your physical name, cursive, non-cursive. What is non-cursive writing called? I'm having a brain fart. Put your initials on the dotted line. I'm having a whole brain fart now. Yeah, read what the document says. Read it. Let's say, hey, I'll get back to it. I'll get back to this. I'll read this over. Right? You're automatically giving away so many legal rights every time you read it, terms and services on the damn app and the damn phone. Read everything else, right? Because you're being Pavloved into not reading legally binding contracts. These companies will fuck you. On to the updates. Quite a bit has happened in the last few weeks. A friend of mine at another company, after hearing what happened, told me his company had an opening. I applied, interviewed, and at the end, the manager asked me what I like to be called. Mr. Always on 10, the greatest to ever live. Nice to meet you. 2 days later, I got a call saying they're going with another candidate. My friend admitted to me that he'd gotten some flack for recommending me. Apparently, HR had worked with one of the employees of my former company and called the employee to ask what the deal with me was. To which the employee responded, he got fired for sexually assaulting a subordinate. I think he's actually being charged criminally. I'm literally crying as I type this. It's a nightmare that won't end. Long story short, I lost my shit. Called up my old company. Boss wouldn't get on the phone with me. Had an attorney draft a letter of demand and send it off. Had another phone conference scheduled. Then once again, regret that an employee provided a reference outside of the prescribed channels. The employee was coached in the proper way to handle such requests. My attorney informed them that in addition to wrongful termination, we would be adding defamation to our complaint against them. They insist that they have not broken any laws and they cannot control the actions of an individual employee who went against company policy. So we're at an impasse there. Either I move ahead against them or I walk away. At this point, I'm ready to drag this through court. I tried to take the high road and go elsewhere, but they're regretting a lot that they've done to me without any action to correct it. Oh, I almost forgot. A few days after my last post, they sent me a packet of papers, standard non-disclosure notifications, COBRA, and a blank copy of the arbitration agreement for me to sign. Why a blank one, you ask? Well, it seems somebody fucked up. They weren't making people sign when I was hired, and HR never bothered to have me sign when the agreement... Cut this part out. And HR never bothered to have me sign the agreement when I worked there. I, of course, have not signed anything that they sent me, including that agreement. I considered allowing arbitration if they pay the costs and I have approval over who is selected, but my attorney has advised not to do that. I wish I had better news to report. Things aren't as hopeless as they first seemed, but not as easily fixable either. As for the employee who made the accusation, I know you're eager to hear, but at this point I can't comment on what's happening there. Thanks for all the advice and support so far. I promise to update when everything resolves, if not sooner, as much as I can. And we're immediately hopping over to the updates. Which is the final update. Everything has been resolved, and I've been waiting to give you guys an update, but I had to wait until my lawyer gave me the okay to talk about things. I love it. So let's start from the beginning. I pulled one of my direct reports, Deborah, into another room to discuss a few mistakes she made, but did not discipline her further. After this, she went to Joyce, one of the managers above me, but not in my direct line of reports, equal to my boss in terms of reporting structure. When Joyce heard that I had taken Deborah into another room without any witnesses, she said to her that it was unprofessional. Apparently, her exact words were, "You know you could accuse him of being inappropriate with you, and I would have no choice but to believe you." This was repeated several times with a strong emphasis on no choice. Joyce then asked Deborah if I had been inappropriate with her, saying, "It will only happen again if you don't speak up now. You do now, we take action." Taking the not at all subtle hint from Joyce, Deborah accused me of exposing myself to her, and I was placed on leave pending an investigation. Joyce immediately sent out an email that nobody besides the secretary was to speak with me without an attorney present, and told the IT guy, Paul, to deactivate my access. James, my boss, had a resume from Terry, an employee in Joyce's department, applying for my job before close of business that day, and she was hired. Paul and I talked. He provided me with video proving my innocence. The company continued to stonewall me and refused to talk to me. When they did, they attempted to push me into arbitration and to retroactively sign an arbitration agreement. I cut my losses, took another job, and was ready to move on. Sandy, an employee in Joyce's department, broke protocol, talked to HR at the new company, told them I had sexually assaulted a subordinate, and cost me the job. So that brings us up to date. My attorney and I launched a civil suit against the company and Deborah. Bet you're wondering how I know the above. Well, good old Joyce says she'd protect Deborah if she came forward. Unfortunately, that only extended to her job. So when she was named individually in the suit, corporate told her they would not be providing her an attorney. After realizing she'd be putting her house up for collateral, she was all too willing to throw Joyce under the bus. Joyce went to Paul, the IT guy, who was the one of her reports, and gave him a list of footage to procedurally be wiped as part of an archival clear-out. He pointed out that the incident with me was on that list and part of an ongoing investigation. Joyce told him it was no longer needed and to go ahead and wipe it. He refused, citing the fact it would still be requested in the event that the suit moved forward. She told him to pack his things as he was being terminated for insubordination. He called the company attorney and informed her what had happened. The aftermath. Several things happened at once, so I keep them as chronological as I can. Deborah's attorney contacted mine stating that, conditional on me dropping the suit, she would admit that she lied and explain what went on behind the scenes. Dana, the company attorney, got the call from my attorney with the details from Deborah shortly after she finished talking with Paul about him being terminated for refusing to destroy evidence. Deborah and Joyce were terminated for cause that day. Paul was told that his job was safe. My attorney received a call, and it was made clear that the company didn't want this to go any further and wanted to talk settlement. I won't go into all the details, but I can say I was offered my job back with a very fair increase. I received back pay from the date of suspension, and a public apology was offered from the very top. Terry is now working in Joyce's old position. She's incredibly cool about things and felt horrified when she found out what happened. James and I are good now, and he has personally apologized for not sticking up for me. This will likely be my final update. There's still some legal battle ongoing, but I can't get into that too much. Thank you for all of your support and encouragement. You guys rock. Now, this puppy is 9 years old. And this just goes to show why we need more unions. Union protection would not be allowed for this. This is why we need more laws protecting employees, similar to some of the European countries. You can't just say, hey, you're fired, and the motherfucker is going, right? Those right to work laws are right to fire you right the fuck now laws, right? They are not rights for you. They are rights for the companies. Companies are treated just like fucking human beings in this country, and that is wrong. These companies should not have equal rights to you. These companies should not be able to fuck you the way that they can. We were in such a better place in the 1960s, as far as the country goes, when over 60% of the jobs in the United States of America were union jobs. We are at a point now where we're teetering at 20% in 2026, right? And you see people getting fired left and right. You see wages absolutely stagnant. You see people getting railroaded, fired, not being able to do anything, and just having to move on when there are egregious injustices. I refuse any bitch-made motherfucker. I refuse their entire existence who says, oh, unions are bad. You're a stupid bitch. You're a stupid, stupid bitch. It's just that simple. I don't care about what you got to say. The numbers and the facts beat you down. Point blank, period. So let's read some comments. Let me read some comments. Top comment, best comments with 1.9K upvotes by Bad Hat Harry. I'd use your increased salary as a stepping stone to find a new job now. Management at your company is beyond incompetent. The HR department isn't fit to manage a food truck, much less the staffing at this company. The legal department really dropped the ball here as well. At every step of the way, they were wide open to damages and proceeded as if they got their degrees from Hollywood upstairs law school. Use your new salary to get a higher paying job at a company that isn't run by Laurel and Hardy, and do what you can on your way out to get Sandy canned. And James, fuck that guy. Who's Sandy? I forgot who Sandy is. I don't remember there being a Sandy. And OP replies to this, very likely searching for a job in the next couple of months, as you motherfucking should. Get the fuck out of there. Get the fuck out of there. Get the fuck out of there. Ooh. So Beeb294 drops a comment with 803 upvotes. So the big question I have, what exactly is Joyce's beef with you as she took the first opportunity to take you out? Why did she go through all the easily verifiable channels to try and wreck your career? I mean, she tried to enlist not one, but two separate patsies. Oh, patsies. She tried to enlist not one, but two separate patsies in this. One of whom knew about the whole situation and knew enough to immediately get legal involved. And another who would have to risk everything to try and prove a blatant lie. That just seems like poor planning on petty revenge to me. Why does she have a grudge? LP responds, my guess, power. She's an ambitious person trying to get ahead in life. Terry and I were on equal level management-wise. The only difference is I have more direct reports, whereas she was basically an assistant manager to Joyce. Handled the department when Joyce was out by herself, so Joyce saw an opportunity to put the surrogate in another management position and get a foothold into my area. Dirty, dirty, dirty bitch. Canadian Curves replies, I worked in offices for years and jerks like Joyce are why I never want to do it again. I refuse to be management, even though I own my own company. A lot of people believe that the limited power they gain in management is beyond what they actually can do, and anyone that they can't count on as one of theirs is being insubordinate on purpose. Even if you're just doing your job or not agreeing to delete evidence, the only way to keep up that illusion is to put people in those positions that will let them do whatever they please, and they absolutely cannot imagine that they aren't smart enough to cover their tracks. The more you discover they've effed up, the more opportunities they have to prove just how powerful they are. I'm pretty happy that her attempt at gaining power backfired this spectacularly. I love it, 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 I love it. A deleted user drops a comment quoting OP's part of the story. Dana, the company attorney, got a call from my attorney with the details from Deborah shortly after she finished talking with Paul about him being terminated for refusing to destroy evidence. They go on to say, I imagine poor Dana getting 3 phone calls in a row. First, an employee saying, so it turns out I made up a sexual harassment claim that I got a guy fired because my boss wanted to put her flunky in his job. LOL, whoops, whoopsies. The second call, an employee saying, hey, so someone is being sued by a former employee just fired me because I wouldn't erase evidence. What do? And the third call, a call from OP's lawyer saying, hey, Dana, you got your checkbook handy? Poor Dana. Someone buy her a pint of whiskey. And OP responds to this. I don't know this officially, but it's gotten back to me from a few people that after my attorney called, Dana walked into our CEO's office and said, quote, you need to either settle or get outside counsel because there is not a chance in hell I'm walking into a courtroom to defend this fucking nightmare. Yo, not only does Dana deserve a vacation, she deserves to be at a better fucking company. Oof. Oof. Are there any more comments I like? I don't think there are. Let me see. Is there something here that I like? I think that's pretty much it, to be honest. I don't even have anything to say. This got handled to a degree that I'm fine with as far as like, physical violence, Mr. Arlotino on a rampage, Hulk smash. I'm coming with that energy as usual, but I honestly do it too much. I swear there was like one more comment where it said something. Where OP was like, yeah, I'm cool. Don't worry about me. I'm gonna keep this job for a little bit and then I'm gonna dip the fuck out. I will absolutely dip the fuck out. And I will find another spot. Mary, here we go. OP says it. Very likely searching for a new job in the next couple of months. That's how you end the story, baby. That's how you end the story. It's crazy. You see how dark it is? I just had to disappear for a couple hours so I can finish up an amazing piece of music. I'll make sure you guys get the link for that within the comment section of this video once it's out, or maybe the next video. Right. I want you guys to be able to enjoy this. But for now, we're off to the final story of the night/day. Somehow it's Tuesday. I'm cooked. We're over in r/legal advice with a post by Probate Court Help. Oh, I think I've gotten caught up in a situation involving lying to / in court, and I don't know what to do. Quick background. My parents passed away several years ago in an accident. My mom's parents are the only living grandparents. My sister, brother, and I are the only grandchildren. This is a very long story, so I'll try to be as brief as possible. My grandparents are approaching 90, and both have recently started to be affected by Alzheimer's. My brother has been helping them for several years, especially after our parents died. My grandparents have always been very active, very healthy, very independent people, and I thought it was ridiculous that my brother would bring them meals, shovel their walkway, mow the lawn, help them to doctor's appointments, etc., because they were perfectly able to handle that themselves. At 90. Earlier this year, my grandparents were diagnosed with Alzheimer's. My brother was given medical and durable power of attorney, which was apparently how my grandparents set up their living trust. A few months after the diagnosis, my brother moved them into an assisted living home. My sister did some research and was getting very worried about everything. She explained that our brother now owned all of our grandparents' real estate properties and all their bank accounts and stocks and whatnot, and that our grandparents were now powerless, and that our brother controlled everything. I was really upset and worried, especially when my brother started renting one of the real estate properties out. So my sister and I decided to try to contest things. She found a lawyer who came to my grandparents' assisted living and met with them. We talked to him about how my brother was taking advantage of my grandparents and how he got them to sign over everything to him, etc. That lawyer called my sister back a few days later and said he wasn't going to represent us because there was no case. So my sister found a different lawyer, and things are now in probate court. She has way more knowledge about this whole thing, so she's taken the lead in it. The new lawyer filed complaints with the probate court that, 1, my brother had taken advantage of my grandparents by fostering dependence when he was bringing them meals, doing yard work, and taking them to the doctor when they were able to do it themselves, and therefore putting himself in position to be put in charge of their money. 2, my grandparents' money / assets are being misused and / or stolen. 3, my brother is renting out the house at below market rates. 4, he's trying to isolate my grandparents by taking control of all their affairs and moving them into a home. We are asking the court to remove my brother as power of attorney and as trustee of the living trust. Now, here's my dilemma. The probate court ordered my brother to submit an accounting of my grandparents' finances, and he did. Our lawyer got a copy of it last week and said that everything is not only in order, but that my brother has improved some investments to bring in more money to the trust. Our lawyer also spent a little time going over some of the information in the trust. My grandparents updated the trust when my parents died to make my brother the first person in line to take over their affairs on incapacity or death. When my grandparents pass, all of their assets are to be divided equally among my brother, my sister, and me, except any outstanding loans any of us still have with them would be deducted from that person's share. He said there's also a no contest clause in the trust, but that he needed to do more research on what that means. He said that there's no way the court will make any changes based on the accounting because it's, as he said, immaculate. However, if we have more information about my brother mistreating / isolating my grandparents, then we'll have a fight on that. Today, my sister is telling me that she believes my brother has falsified the accounting that was done and that she's going to have proof of it and that will get my brother removed. She also plans to have part in the trust removed about the outstanding loans being deducted and get legal guardianship over my grandparents. I'm starting to have second thoughts, and I'm not sure what to do here. If my brother falsified the accounting, what happens? If my sister comes up with proof, but I have this nagging suspicion that she's going to make something up and gives it to court, can I get in trouble for being on her side? You should get punched in the face for not taking care of your grandparents. Why is your brother being the only one that helped them out, and here you are lusting over their money? You're concerned only about their money, but not about their well-being? I'm smelling bullshit. Top comment by Caring Executive. Why is your sister so dead set on disrupting your brother? What proof will she have that he lied? Was the accounting verified by an auditor? He would have really had to falsify many different records for this to be the case. You really should find out from your sister why she suspects your brother is lying. It sounds to me like your sister feels shafted during this whole incident while your brother was attempting to help your grandparents as they slowed down. If they're 90 and have developed Alzheimer's, it is not unreasonable for them to begin to need help around the house, nor for them to be moved into an assisted living home. Something diabolical is happening. And OP responds, I don't know if the accounting was verified by an auditor. My brother's lawyer turned it into the court, and I believe the court sent a copy of it to our lawyer. The accounting was done by a CPA. Oh, another thing my sister wants to fight is that my brother's lawyer is being paid for by my grandparents' trust. His fees are right there in the accounting, and meanwhile, my sister and I have to pay for our lawyers ourselves. That's normal. Right now, I'm not totally sure why she's so convinced our brother is falsifying things. She says she 100% knows our brother is lying and that it is not right that he's using our grandparents' money the way he is. I agree with her that they don't need to be in a home because their Alzheimer's isn't bad. They could be staying at home instead of spending nearly $10K per month to stay in assisted living. Grammy can still cook and tidy up. Neither of them wander off. They still know who they are and who we are, etc. And Grammy doesn't like it there. It makes me wonder if he's misusing money in other ways. I don't know. On one hand, I can see my sister's point that maybe my brother's doing stuff wrong. But on the other hand, I just have this suspicion that she's making some stuff up. For example, she insisted that the house my brother is renting out was being rented out way below market value. But our lawyer said it's not. Your sister seems more concerned about the money than anything. I don't know. Sounds like bullshit. I'm smelling something like bullshit. Let's see. A jellysicle, if, and I say if, the brother has not, in fact, stolen all the grandparents' property, real estate, money, whatever else, and put it into his own name, but has instead set up a trust which will handle everything and then distribute it fairly to all three of you upon death, then what's the problem? And the brother hasn't done it. The grandparents already did. Delta Black replies, probably the sister has a fairly large chunk of debt with the grandparents, and she wants she wants that out of the way to get a bigger inheritance. And OP responds to that. I was wondering that, actually. They gave her loans for her house and 2 cars, but I have no idea how much she still owes them, if anything. I know she did borrow a lot because they're nice cars, and she lives in a big house in a good neighborhood. She claims she paid them back around Christmas in a lump sum, but she doesn't make a ton of money, so I don't know how. She's finessing. Let's see about this. Short updates. My sister's so smooth talking, so damn smooth talking. I talked to her without saying anything about this post. She didn't give me any specifics about what kind of proof she can get or what exactly she thinks our brother is doing to screw over the finances or hurt our grandparents, but she talks in such a convincing manner that I was about ready to discount everything posted here. I asked her how she thought we should manage my grandparents' care after my brother was removed, and she said she thought we should move them back to their house and hire a cleaning lady off Craigslist to come once a week so Grammy didn't have any So Grammy didn't have any worry about cleaning once a week. Then I sucked it up and called my brother. He couldn't talk much since he needed to get his kids in bed soon, and he wasn't very friendly, which I think I deserve. I told him I think I was being lied to and that our sister was acting shady. He agreed to answer my questions. I asked him why he moved them to such an expensive assisted living. And I guess some months back, Grammy left a pound of stove and left to go shopping. My brother stopped by while she was out and found the pot on the lit burner, billowing smoke, burnt and ruined. And my grandpa was watching TV totally unaware of the smoke. And Gramps had taken the batteries out of the smoke detector last time Grammy burned something. So the fucking house could have burnt down. He moved them out right after that. And whoever said my sister owes our grandparents a lot of money was right. According to my brother, just over $500,000. I feel sick. But it's worse than that even. Okay, so Grandpa kept really thorough financial files, and he had signed loan agreements with whoever owed money, and he kept everything in a file cabinet. Yes, I also owe them some money for a car, but it's down to $4,000, and I made every monthly payment. So after my brother got my grandparents moved into an assisted living, he went to gather all the financial documents so he can get everything in order. And he found that all the loan agreements my sister had signed were missing from her file. He suspects she took them so there'd be no record of what she owes. Apparently, Grandma kept photocopies of the important stuff, including loan agreements and a payment ledger book, in a fire safe as backup, so my brother has proof of what everyone owes. Nah, I feel sick. I don't know what to do. This is a nightmare. I'm going to call a lawyer tomorrow and find out how to get removed from this mess. Yeah, your sister finessed your dumb ass. Honestly. Let's move on to a proper update. First, I'd like to thank everyone here. You're welcome. I didn't do anything. And over on the subreddit, Best of Legal Advice. Oh, you're thinking of people over at Legal Advice and Best of Legal Advice? But not me? Even though I'm seeing this post 10 years after the fact? You could have thanked me in advance. I'd like to thank everyone for your inputs, suggestions, and the harsh words that it turns out I needed last fall. A few people commented that I sounded young, and that's pretty true. My brother and sister are much older than me, and my parents had me later in life. Mom used to say I was her favorite surprise. Smiley face. So yeah, I'm just getting started in college and don't have much real world experience, which isn't an excuse for how I acted, but it is what it is, and I'm trying to be better. And that's an excuse. That absolutely is one. You're young and dumb. I took a humanities class that covers aging a semester because of this whole situation with my grandparents, and I learned so much. I really enjoyed it too. I'm thinking about changing my major so I can go into a field that helps protect the elderly, like maybe social work. So I told our lawyer back in November that I wanted nothing to do with the court case anymore and gave him a general outline of why I come to believe that my sister wasn't being totally honest. He filed stuff to show that I was withdrawing my name from the case, and then he fired my sister as a client. She dismissed, I think this is the right term, her case since she no longer had a lawyer, and after some soul searching and a couple of visits with a counselor at school, I told her not to contact me again and blocked her. My brother was willing to forgive me for some reason. I'm grateful for it. But I was a real jackass until I supposed to hear about my grandparents' situation. He keeps me in the loop, which is how I know the last almost 5 months have played out. All right. My brother's attorney for the trust started getting emails from my sister's new lawyer. This would be the third one she's used about her complaints over my grandparents' estate. This happened later in the fall. She was claiming to lawyer number 3 that my brother was hiding bank accounts / money, that he was letting the trust real estate properties go to junk and not taking care of them, that he didn't have insurance on the properties, He was letting people live there for free and a bunch of other stuff that I could see was completely not true. She also started telling my grandparents these lies, which upset them and confused them. They believed her for a bit and were just awful to my brother and me. Lawyer number 3 was sending demanding emails to my brother's lawyer for him to show proof that the houses are in good shape, insured, not being misused, on and on and on and on. After a couple of months of this, my brother's lawyer got an email directly from my sister where she listed demands such as my brother must let her take an inventory of all my grandparents' possessions and take some keepsakes for herself, that any renters had to be evicted immediately, that he had to put all the real estate up for sale within 30 days, and other things that my brother's lawyers explained that he absolutely did not have to do. And if these things didn't happen within 30 days, she would be forced to pursue further legal action. And she CC'd her lawyer on this email. Well, my brother's lawyer got a call that same day from lawyer number 3 saying he had nothing to do with that email and wasn't consulted. That was the last we heard anything from lawyer number 3, and all was quiet for a few months. And that brings me to the current situation. My brother's lawyer recently forwarded him copies of emails with, drum roll please, my sister's new lawyer, lawyer number 4. This lawyer is from a firm that does local ads like, got a DUI, charged with a crime, we can help. I don't know why they're taking on a probate situation, but it looks like they are. And really, it's the same stupid claim she's made with lawyer number 3. And my brother's lawyer has already gone over with him exactly what he's supposed to be doing as the trustee. So he knows he doesn't have to do any of the stuff she's saying. It's just, this is getting very hard on my brother. He's just so tired of it all. I would be too. What I want to know is, I guess, not so much about what legal steps he should be taking, because his lawyer has that covered, but maybe some advice from you guys, since you have been dealing with all types of people in courts. Why is she doing this? I mean, she apparently wants to be trustee, but my brother's lawyer said that probate court would never give it to her since my brother has shown that he's managing everything exactly right. So why does she want to continue? Is there anything we can do to get her to stop? Punch her in the face. My brother's lawyer said he's seen people act like this for years. Ugh. But he didn't have any advice on anything we could do to get back to her, to get her to back off, since she isn't breaking any laws. Break a couple limbs. I would appreciate any advice or suggestions anyone has. Break a couple limbs. What up, huh? Who said that? Top comment. Top comment by 824696 166 uploads. That's great, OP, that you're on the side of your stand-up, brother. I appreciate your candor/honesty about your actions as well. Depending on how much of a nuisance/cost your sister's actions are to your brother, he may be able to file a lawsuit against her for the time and financial costs she's cost him and his lawyer in frivolous legal actions. This course is time-consuming and costly unto itself. He sounds like he's already incredibly busy, a father with young kids, and overseeing your grandparents' health. Have you tried approaching your sister to ask her to stop? This is the least you could do, seeing as what your brother has done for your grandparents and the grace he's shown you. And OP replies to this, quoting part of this comment. He may be able to file legal action against her for the time and financial costs she's cost him and his lawyer in frivolous legal actions. Well, my brother's lawyer is the lawyer for the trust and is paid from the trust, so it isn't costing me, my brother, any money directly, just time and dealing with all this crap. Can the trust sue if it wanted to go that route? Have you tried approaching your sister to ask her to stop? LP says, I did try that a few months ago, and I got a lovely go fuck yourself as a response. Yeah, your sister ain't shit, dog. Your sister is a piece of fucking garbage. I don't even under. Ugh. I don't even understand. Let's move on to the final update. All right. I don't want to read any more of those comments. So, right near 5 years have passed since my update on my sister doing her best to manipulate her way into getting her hands on our grandparents' substantial assets. 6 years in total of stories. This is the final update because both grandparents have passed, and my brother filed the final tax return for the trust last month, which was the last thing needed to settle it. Here's what happened. Gramps suffered a stroke several months after my last update. Because it happened at an assisted living facility just down the street from a major hospital, he was able to initially survive. My brother felt it was only right to inform my sister. I didn't agree. She took his call, thanked him for calling, and never came to the hospital. My brother and I sat in the ICU in shifts of 4 days with Gramps. Gramps held on for several months, was even able to return to live with his wife, but he was obviously not the same, and pneumonia took him in the end. His death pretty much sent Grammy over the edge. Her Alzheimer's progressed quickly after she lost Gramps and needed to be moved into the memory unit. Grammy held on for years. Pneumonia took her the summer before the pandemic. Jesus. My sister never visited our grandparents after my last update. She didn't give up on her quest to be a terrible person, though. This dirty bitch. Lawyer number 4 lasted over 3 years. They settled into a rhythm of sending frequent demand emails to the lawyer's trust, to the trust lawyer, for copies of checks, proof that the estate properties were insured, trust bank records, anything they were technically entitled to review due to my sister being a beneficiary. Anytime a property had a necessary repair, not a plumbing issue causing sewage to leak in the house, my sister would have her lawyer demand copies of everything, insist on getting multiple quotes for the same time-sensitive work, anything to drag the process out. No, don't do that to me. No. Because then I'm liable to show up at your house and take a shit in your bathroom and then proceed to wipe my ass with your goddamn comforter on your bed. Don't do no shit like this. No, you crazy bitch. Ooh. You're stopping me from being able to take a shit, dog? Open your mouth, damn. Every year, when my brother would submit the trust accounting, weeks of work would follow due to her demanding clarification on every medical bill or questioning why Grammy needed $100 worth of clothing from Target or whatever random tidbit she latched onto. All at one time, dragging everything out. I would have punched her. I would have punched her. She also discovered that she could file complaints in probate court. The judge would send the complaints to mediation. My brother wouldn't agree to anything in mediation, and my sister would have her lawyer withdraw the filing. This happened multiple times. The trust legal costs were staggering as a result of all this. When Grammy passed, the trust law firm submitted an equitable distribution proposal to my sister's lawyer, including her outstanding debts, which she never attempted to repay to the trust, and which she continued to deny in spite of the documentation my brother has. My brother even offered to reduce the amount she owed if she wanted to take one of the real estate properties she previously expressed interest in, so he wouldn't have to deal with selling it. She refused the proposal if any of her debts were included. Yo, this crazy. This making me itch, dog, with how fucked up she is. There was some back and forth for a couple of months. Then she went quiet for a bit. Then came lawyer number 5. The trust lawyer assumed, probably correctly, that lawyer number 4 realized his easy payday of sending nasty emails and filing motions that would go nowhere was over and stopped representing her. I wonder how she's even paying for these lawyers. Damn. So she got a new guy, and my brother had to start the whole process over. The new lawyer came to the table with only my sister's version of the story, including some new embellishments about my brother hiding my grandparents from her and never knowing where they were, their health status, if they were even alive. The new lawyer really latched onto that part. But the trust lawyer, I keep saying it wrong. The trust lawyer had told my brother early on to shoot them an email with any updates or changes to my grandparents' status / location, such as hospitalizations or ER trips or transfers to different assisted living accommodations, and he always did so. The lawyer who took the lead on handling the trust said it was hilariously satisfying to provide copies of my brother's emails to her and her subsequent emails to whichever lawyer my sister was on, with sad updates to lawyer number 5. He suddenly had a more pleasant demeanor. I'm zoning out here. My brain is cooked. This is already long, so I'll simplify the next several months, late 2019 to early 2020. Sister at first refused distribution proposal. Trust lawyer simply submitted the proposal to probate court for them to approve. Sister was suddenly fine with accepting the proposal. She asked for cash distribution less her debts, no property in kind. Brother takes the rental property in kind, asks if I had any interest in the vacation property our sister had previously wanted but no longer did. I have good memories. I have good memories there. Decide to accept the offer so I can visit the property and my brother can still use it. Everyone signs the distribution agreements. Papers are filed in court, and it's done. My brother sells the remaining real estate property, the townhouse my grandparents lived in before entering the assisted living, and cuts checks for cash distribution. And we haven't heard a word from my sister since. Not in any form. She deposited her check immediately, and that was that. It was so anticlimactic after all the hassle that she caused over the last 5 years. The only thing she accomplished with these years of greed was to cost the trust something like $600,000 in legal and related fees. $600,000. That's money that would have been split among the three of us. She cost herself over $200,000 for nothing. Yo, how big was this fucking trust? What? She didn't even take the vacation property she had claimed to want so badly, despite everything my brother offered to her first, because it apparently held so much sentimental value. Apparently, once she saw the appraisal on it from 2019, it wasn't that sentimental to her, and it appraised at $90,000. It's not some fancy resort property or something, just a small vacation home in a pretty area. I guess it's a happy enough resolution, all things considered. I was able to pay off my small amount of student debt from undergrad, and I'll be able to pay for grad school. That's a win. I elected to take a year off to work in a nonprofit. And then, pandemic. Ooh. With a little nest egg, I have a cute vacation house that's now suddenly worth a whole lot more. But I'm not counting on this vacation staying where it is. Valuation. Not vacation, valuation. I need to go to sleep, people. My brother and I just use it for its intended purpose. My brother elected to take the rental property as part of his share, and after all the crap he's had to deal with, definitely deserves the rental income. I helped him where I could in all this mess and attended the mediation meetings with him to speak on behalf of the trust, but he did the hard work. My brother and I are cool, friends even. He forgave me for being an utter ass all those years ago, and I get to be the cool uncle now. I'm not even sure if any of the same posters are still active in the sub. But if you were around then, thanks for the brutal honesty and for explaining what was going on before I made any terrible mistakes. You're welcome, OP, even though I wasn't here. And even though there are no comments on this update. But if we run over to Best Redditor Updates, we can see the comments over here and how people are vibing. Thea_B says, man, how exhausting to spend that much money over this. I'm glad the brother took care of the grandparents, and the original OP realized how greedy their sister is. You know, she's a bitch, dog. She's a bitch. Money will make people do crazy things. I can't even, because I don't want to like dogpile on the sister, right? And anybody listening, they're like, yeah, fuck women. They're girls, they're so greedy. All they're after is money and stuff. Nah, we're not even going to vibe out to any more comments. It's 1 a.m., so I'm going to edit this and go to sleep. I want you, beautiful, wonderful, intelligent people, and you poorly educated, need to be trained, idiotic people, to have a beautiful, wonderful day, night, week, month, and year. I have been your host, Mr. Always on 10, and I appreciate you for listening to the Intelligent Idiots Podcast. Peace.